Tonight, we're making tomato pie. So the first step with this recipe is to make a homemade crust. Now, it takes practice. A butter crust is a little bit easier than an oil crust, but I'm gonna give you a recipe that my grandmother used probably 60+ years ago, and it came off of the back of a Wesson bottle. And I use this crust with all my pies, quiches, you name it, and it's easy. And once you get the consistency of that crust down, you'll never buy a store-bought crust again. So I added 1 cup of flour, I added a 1/3 cup of oil, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 cup of really ice cold water. And then I mixed it all up and I formed it into a ball. Now, if you feel that it's a little bit too oily, I'd rather have it too oily than too much flour, because then it's like really hard to roll out. Just add a little bit more flour, roll it in the bowl, and then we're gonna put some also on the sheet when we roll it out, so we'll have more flour on that. So let's go ahead and do that. Here, I've got this like Pampered Chef silicone piece that's great that I use. I've sprinkled some flour on the dough, and now I am just rolling it into a circle so that I can put it in my pie dish and then put it in the oven, because we're gonna cook this before we add the tomatoes and basil and other ingredients. So I've rolled my crust on the roller, and I would say with the oil, you can cut it back just a little bit, start kind of like kneading it, and if you find that it's got a little bit too much oil, then just play with that flour mixture, because sometimes it works, sometimes it's not exact. So this one is just a little bit more oily. I know how to work with it, so it's not as annoying to me, but if you're new to that, it'll be annoying to you if it starts breaking off or if it's sticking. Just add flour. And I have this cute little pie dish that I got from Anthropology a while ago, and I always forget that they have the cutest little knickknacks in there, and it's not just clothes. Okay, so we're gonna take our pie crust and roll it out into the dish, and then try and make it look pretty. All right, so I molded it to this dish, and I'm actually a little bit glad that it's more oilier than not, because more oily than not. I didn't think about that. But anyway, it's going to come out easier. So I've got it molded. We're gonna stick it in the oven, brown this a little bit, take it out, let it cool, and then we will add our other ingredients. So our pie crust is done. I'm letting that sit and rest. I have sliced tomatoes that I have put on a paper towel with a little salt, just to get the water out of them so the pie crust does not become soggy. And then I have taken a 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt, shredded mozzarella cheese, and then a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, mixed it all together. And so we are going to start with tomatoes, then we're gonna add basil, then we're gonna add green onion, then we're gonna put the cheese mixture on top, and then we're gonna pop it back in the oven and let it bake. All right, so we have our beautiful pie crust here, and we're gonna go ahead and just start putting the tomatoes on the bottom and layer. Supposed to use green onions, but realized I only had one. So I'm gonna use some red onion. It's not that big of a deal. Again, improvise, it's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Green onion, red onion, it's gonna taste great. Cover with basil. And I did put salt and pepper on the tomatoes as well. And I'm just gonna do whole, because this will reduce down. Cheese mixture, and then put this on top and then bake it. I've never made this before. It's a southern dish, so I'm hoping it will be a favorite summer staple. So here you have it. Put it in the oven and take it out when it's brown. So our son graduated on Monday and we had a big party and we made sliders. So I had a ton of tomatoes left over and I was like, I don't want them to go bad. What can I make? And so I saw this tomato pie recipe come through and I thought, let's go ahead and try it. Make it.